The space race was one of the most iconic and defining struggles of the 20th century, emerging from the tense climate of the Cold War as the United States and the Soviet Union sought to prove not only their scientific and technological superiority, but also the strength of their political and ideological systems to the entire world. It was not simply a contest to reach new frontiers in space, but a battle for prestige, influence, and the symbolic dominance of one model of society over another, with every success in orbit resonating as a victory on Earth. The competition began dramatically in October 1957 when the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, the first artificial satellite, which circled the Earth in a matter of hours and sent a shockwave across the globe, particularly in the United States, where it was perceived not only as a technological breakthrough, but also as a strategic threat, since the same rockets that launched satellites could potentially deliver nuclear weapons across continents. Shortly afterward, in November of the same year, Moscow launched Sputnik 2, carrying the dog Laika, the first living creature to orbit Earth, proving that life could survive space travel, even though Laika did not return alive. These achievements left the United States scrambling to catch up, leading to the creation of NASA in 1958, as well as massive investments in education, research, and technological development to close the gap with their rival. In April 1961, the Soviets stunned the world once again when Yuri Gagarin became the first human to orbit Earth aboard Vostok 1, cementing the Soviet lead and dealing a serious blow to American pride. Just weeks later, the United States responded by launching Alan Shepard in a suborbital flight, a shorter mission but an important first step. At this point, President John F. Kennedy understood that incremental achievements would not be enough to surpass the Soviets, so in May 1961, he addressed Congress with a bold and historic challenge: to land a man on the moon and return him safely to Earth before the decade was out. This audacious objective transformed the space race into a focused and highly ambitious program, with the United States committing vast financial resources, the talent of thousands of engineers and scientists, and the determination to regain leadership in space exploration. Over the following years, the competition escalated, with the Soviets continuing to secure important firsts, such as Valentina Tereshkova becoming the first woman in space in 1963, and Alexei Leonov performing the first spacewalk in 1965, while the United States concentrated on building the foundations necessary for a lunar landing through the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo programs. These missions progressively tested vital skills such as long-duration spaceflight, docking and maneuvering spacecraft in orbit, and preparing astronauts to endure the challenges of deep space travel. The Apollo program in particular became the centerpiece of the American effort, overcoming tragedies such as the Apollo-1 fire that killed 3 astronauts in 1967, but also showcasing resilience and technological mastery that pushed the boundaries of what was thought possible. The climax of the space race came in July 1969 with Apollo 11, when Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins embarked on a mission that would change human history forever. After a flawless journey, Armstrong and Aldrin descended to the lunar surface, while Collins remained in orbit, and Armstrong stepped onto the moon, declaring humanity's presence on another celestial body for the first time. This achievement, broadcast live to millions of people around the world, represented not just a triumph for the United States, but also a turning point in the global perception of what humanity could accomplish when united by vision, courage, and determination. The Soviets, despite their successes in building space stations and conducting robotic missions to the moon and planets, never managed to land a crewed mission on the moon, and the Apollo 11 landing was widely seen as the decisive moment that tilted the symbolic balance of the space race in America's favor. In the years that followed, the rivalry gradually lost its initial intensity, especially after the U.S. lunar program concluded with Apollo 17 in 1972. By the mid-1970s, a spirit of cooperation began to replace confrontation, most notably with the Apollo-Soyuz test project of 1975, when American and Soviet spacecraft docked in orbit and astronauts and cosmonauts shook hands in space, symbolizing a temporary thaw in Cold War tensions. Nevertheless, the space race had already left an enduring legacy. It accelerated advances in rocketry, telecommunications, computing, material science, and satellite technology, laying the foundation for the modern world's communication systems and navigation networks. It also inspired generations of scientists, engineers, and dreamers, proving that humanity was capable of transcending the boundaries of Earth and reaching out to the stars. More than a political contest, the space race became a symbol of human ingenuity and ambition, demonstrating that competition, despite its roots in rivalry, can drive extraordinary achievements that benefit all of humanity.